Hi, I'm Jane Marsilio from Silio Music, and I'm here today to talk about boom cards. So I love boom cards, and I'm excited to show you why. So what are boom cards? If you've ever used task cards in your room, they're a digital version of task cards. Physical task cards are like index cards with a question on every card, and kids flip through the cards and answer the questions, and then they write their answer on a sheet of paper. With digital task cards, the kids will know if their answers were right or wrong immediately because Boom will tell them. It'll either ring a bell for yes or say whoops if they got the answer wrong, and then they get to try again. So I love that there's immediate feedback when using Boom cards for students. A set of cards is called a deck, and it's very similar to a PowerPoint presentation. If you've ever used interactive games for a PowerPoint, you know how there'll be a question on every slide like, which rhythm do you hear? And the kids will pick the rhythm. Well, I love boom cards because the slides advance on their own, so no one needs to stand at the computer and click through the slides or tell them if the answer was right or wrong. So it's super easy. It was a real game changer for distance learning. This is great for centers and it's great for the whole class, and you can project it on a whiteboard. But with distance learning, you can just send kids a link in their Google Classroom or Seesaw or whatever it is that you're using. And all the kids need to do is click on a link to play. So let me just show you an example of what kids will see. So here's this hyperlink. They just click on it and the game pops up in their browser. So they can play it on their phone if they have a smartphone. They can play it on a Chromebook, computer, laptop, whatever. As long as it has a browser and you're hooked up to the internet. So I've added sound to this. If they get it wrong, they get another chance. Or they can skip. Alright, so let's go back here. So that is kind of how they work. And there's 3 ways for students to play. What you just saw was drag and drop. You can also do multiple choice or fill in the blank. There's also a way to play called Flow Magic, and that's like if you had a PowerPoint and you're on slide 1 and you wanted it to jump to slide 5, you would use Flow Magic. I don't have any boom decks using Flow Magic, but I know Melissa from Musical Interactions does, so I would definitely check out her store. Because with boom cards, let's go here, you can always go to the store and preview everything. You can preview it by author, you can look for decks, you can specifically search for music decks in the arts. So let's just look up Silio Music. And you can preview any deck here. So let's just preview this one. And it'll let you see about 3 or 4 slides. You can always preview it before you get the deck, which is nice. Now let's check out Flow Magic because Melissa does have an example of this. And there are boom cards that are free, so be sure to check out the free ones too. Alright, I think this one uses Flow Magic. Melissa just let me know that you cannot preview Flow Magic on Boom. So I'm just going to insert an example of her Boom deck using Flow Magic. So let's look at standard notation.
Rain, rain, go away.
And great job, so that was correct. Let's go back and see what it looks like with iconic notation.
Rain, rain, go away.
There it is. All right, thanks Melissa for letting me use this. Check out her boom cards. I know there are a lot of music teachers out there with boom cards. Eileen Miracle has some, Trinity Music has a bunch, Frau Music has a lot as well, so there's plenty out there. And there are a handful of free ones out there that you can use as well. All right, now let's go over how to make some boom cards. We will go over how to make each type, the multiple choice, the fill in the blank, and drag and drop. Let's just show an example. I think we've already seen multiple choice. We've seen drag and drop, the one Melissa's deck and my high-low deck. So let's look at fill in the blank. So that would be so, me. So that's fill in the blank. There are 4 membership levels to Boom. Fast Play is what I use, and it's unlimited and it's free. So you can get as many Boom decks as you want and assign it to as many students as you want. With the free version, you also can create 5 of your own decks and assign it to 5 students. When it says assign it to 5 students, what it means is you can upload your classes and your students onto Boom. So you can create a classroom, or you can upload your Google Classroom and just type in your students' names. But students will all need a login and password. And you have way more than 5 students. Even the highest membership level, Ultimate, only goes up to 200. So for this reason, I would only get the Ultimate level if you planned on selling your Boom decks. The basic one I might get if I'm doing a student learning objective and I needed data. So if I'm doing like a syncopated rhythm with one class and I needed data, I can do the pre-test and the post-test through Boom, and Boom will record everything that they clicked. It'll record every right answer, every wrong answer, and how many seconds it took them to get the answer. Boom will fill out a full report of all that stuff here under reports. I don't use it for that reason, so I don't have any reports, but yeah, you can do that with Boom. And everything is handled on the Boom website. It's all in the cloud. You don't have to store anything. You can be on one computer, go to a classroom, and hop on another computer, and the game will still be there. And Boom is super responsive. If you have a question or a problem, they will get back to you really fast. Anyway, let's go over how to make some Boom cards. You will go to Studio and Make Decks. Then let's create a new deck. And this is my template card here. And these are all the cards that will follow. So let's make 4 cards. And on every single card, I want the same background. So I'm going to click Background Image, and I'm going to grab this underwater background. The way I got this into my Boom account is by uploading it. So if you have clip art on your computer, just upload it here. You can find a lot of great clip art on Teachers Pay Teachers, or you can buy it. So if I wanted like a spring background, there's all kinds of backgrounds here that you can look through. All right, so let's go back and select this crab. Oops, I did not want to make that my background. I wanted this as my background, and I want a crab in every page, on every page. So I'll just put this crab over here. And now let's go to slide number 1. Because the crab is on my template card, I can't move it, so it's stuck. If I wanted to change the background image, I could, but I'd have to go to each page that I want to change it on and do it that way. Now let's do multiple choice. So we'll just do a simple music symbol deck here. And you can go right here where it says multiple choice and click and drag. And even though the correct answer is in the upper left box, when students go through it, it'll randomize. So it won't always be in this upper corner. So you don't have to change it. So the correct answer is treble clef, and the wrong answer is S clef, F clef, and bass clef. All right, and you can resize this as well. There's another way you can do multiple choice, and that is with the buttons. So just click and drag a button over, and we'll call this a staff. And we'll make this the correct answer. It already has a green outline, a thin green outline. I don't know if you can see it, but that means it's the correct answer. But let's duplicate this, and instead of staff, we'll call it rose. I don't know. And that will be the wrong answer. So let's go here and click wrong, and now there'll be a red outline. This won't be visible to students when they play. Oops, this has to be correct. Okay. So I'm doing like a mix of multiple choice and drag and drop and all that. But starting out, I would just do one thing for every card in your deck. Like make it all multiple choice or make it all fill in the blank. So let's do fill in the blank here. And I'll just put some text. What is the name of this note? Type your answer below. And if you have kids who aren't reading yet, say like kindergarten, you can always record your voice and then upload the sound. My sounds aren't popping up, and this is something that happens sometimes in Boom. Things will freeze or start behaving oddly, so all you have to do is refresh. I love that because Boom saves everything you do. When you refresh it, you won't lose anything. It'll just look how it's supposed to look. So here are my audio recordings. Let's see, I'll just put turtle here.
Turtle.
But if you wanted to record yourself saying, what is the name of this note? Type your answer below. You could do that. And when kids get to this slide, under sound properties, it can autoplay. So they won't even have to click on it. It'll just automatically play. So let's get rid of that. For sound recordings, I use Audacity. It's a free program that you can download, but if you're on a Mac, I would definitely use GarageBand. They're pretty similar, but GarageBand has a lot of extras in there that are pretty cool. Now we're going to drag fill in the blank over here, double tap, and put in all the answers that you'll accept. So I'll accept whole note, and because I'm feeling generous, I'll also accept whole. All right. Now let's do a drag and drop. Let's do quarter note. What is the name of this note? Drag and drop the answer onto the crab. This means that our crab is going to be our drop zone. So go to drag and drop options here. Make that your drop zone. Now I can't move it, so unlock it by hitting this lock button. You can also go to item and unlock or lock it here, and you can also change the opacity here. All right, so let's make this bigger and put a couple buttons. Quarter note. And you don't have to worry about these being correct or incorrect, and I'll show you why in a second. Or is it a fourth note? Okay, now we want to make these draggable, so go over here to drag and drop options. Oops. And make that draggable. And you want to take the correct answer and connect it to the drop zone, that little flag. You can also make the notes draggable, like if your question was drag and drop the quarter note onto the crab, and you had a picture of a quarter note, an eighth note, a whole note, you can make this draggable as well and put that there. Now the thing about drag and drop is you need to make the drop zone bigger than the draggable image, because at least I think it's 70% of the draggable image has to fit into the drop zone for it to work. If you had a really tiny drop zone, there's no way you could fit 70% of this image onto that image. All right, so now let's preview our game. And this is what the students would see. As you can see, they move treble clef from over here to down here. It will randomize and move around. And there it is. That's our deck. So you want to go back and fill in some details if you'd like. You can put a cover image. I'll just use this crab. But if you are great with PowerPoint or Keynote or Adobe Illustrator, Photoshop, you can make a fancy cover if you'd like. And fill in all this stuff, the keywords, how much you want it to cost. Boom cards range from about 100 points to maybe 400 points or so. The point system is because if you are selling your boom cards, they are handling all the taxes for you. I know a few other companies do this. When I was sending out invitations on, I think it was like a greeting card website, they also use points. Roughly 100 points equals $1. That's kind of the conversion there. Now, I want to randomize the cards, so they'll pop up in any order, but I don't want to randomize card number 1. So card number 1 will always be the first card that they see, and that's in case you have directions or something on the first card. I'm not using Flow Magic. How many cards should your students get at one time? Do you want to give them all the cards? You just want to give them half the cards? That would be good for if you only have like 10 minutes of each center or something like that. And then you want to fill all this stuff out. Acknowledgements, this is where you would put where you got your clip art from. So I made this clip art in my clip art store. So I put silly, like I would just put like clip art by Silly O Design. And put a little description here. And then if you want to list it on TPT, you would hit this. And it's not showing up now because I haven't published it. So I'll private publish. But you'll need to publish it to your store. I'm not going to sell this, so I'm not going to publish it to the store. But a secret link will pop up for TPT, and you would put that link onto a PDF and then post that to your TPT shop or wherever you're selling it. You can sell it on a blog or anywhere else. And when people click on that link, it'll direct them to the game on Boom. The next thing we're going to do is let's assign this deck. So all your decks will be stored in the library. And let's go find, I have a lot of decks, so all right, here it is. And you can print the decks, so if you're not going to have internet for a while, you can print them ahead of time and just use them like regular task cards. Or what I exclusively use is FastPin. So generate pin. This pin will expire in 14 days. If you give this link to students and they click on it, they can play this Boom game as many times as they want for 14 days. You can put that in their Google Classroom or whatever you're using. And here we go. Let's just take a look at what they'll see. Yep, so there's our game. Now, another thing about making your own Boom cards, let's look at a couple resources here. Really helpful tool is the Facebook group, Creating Boom Cards. You can ask any question you want in there and somebody will answer it. Just check the search bar first and search your question to make sure it hasn't been asked 100 times already. And the Boom FAQ section is full of information. Oops. So let's go there under Help. They do have a YouTube channel with tons of tutorials. If you check YouTube, you can find tutorials made by all kinds of teachers, gen ed teachers. SLPs really love Boom cards, so they make some great tutorials. And then let's go to the articles. Now here is kind of like everything you'd want to know. There's a lot to read through. I would definitely, if you're making your own set, read through all of this, especially the one, selling Boom cards, especially the one that says mandatory. So for mandatory, you are going to want to read this. This is what you need to post at the bottom of all your Boom cards. You have to cut and paste this into the description if you're selling it on a different website. Let's go back. Another thing you want to worry about is please be careful not to infringe on anyone's trademarks. This includes Disney, Marvel, all that kind of stuff. If you're going to sell it, you want it to be legal. You don't want a takedown report. So get creative, and I know it might be tricky at first, but coming up with your own original ideas is what's going to make you stand out on the Boom platform. So take that into consideration. And if you're selling bundles, it can get really confusing. Bundles are a whole different session, so I'm not going to go over that, but that is something that you can find a lot of information on in the Facebook group. I hope that was helpful, and I will be running a giveaway. So in the comments, if you just want to write something, a topic that you would like to use Boom cards for, just write that in the comments, and I will pick someone randomly, and you will get 5 free Boom cards from my store, and I will send those to you through Facebook Messenger or email. I will also go back and read through the comments and try to answer everyone's questions if you have posted any questions to the best of my ability. Thank you so much for watching.